Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LM Report. I'm your host, Lima. You're joining me for episode 5, April 4th, 2025. Today's headline is a thunderbolt. Doge and Trump found something incredible. The world will find out soon. We're plunging into a saga that's got Washington quaking in its boots. Trump's weaving an intricate web to ensnare the deep state. Doge is excavating their most sinister secrets, and the shockwaves are poised to reverberate across the globe, from decades of election fraud to sprawling human trafficking networks, from judicial tyranny to street-level chaos, and the implosion of the globalist machine. This is a defining chapter in the fight for America's soul. So grab a seat, brace yourselves. We've got a mountain of details to dissect, and it's going to be a relentless, gripping, and revelatory journey deep into the heart of this unfolding storm. Trump's grand strategy, a narrative to crush the deep state. Let's set the stage. The deep state, those corrupt politicians burrowed into Congress, tech billionaires warping reality, fake news outlets churning out propaganda, and elusive puppet masters orchestrating chaos, is facing an existential threat like never before. Trump isn't just rolling back Biden's catastrophic policies. He's architecting a meticulous, slow-burn takedown of their entire criminal empire. On Air Force One, he dropped a tantalizing bombshell. Doge, his data-driven bulldog, has unearthed something incredible and deeply disturbing. He's promised the world will know soon. This isn't a haphazard jab. It's a masterful chess move, a calculated provocation designed to flush out the deep state's next play. Trump's watching their every twitch, every panicked reaction, and trust me, they're unraveling at the seams. What could this discovery be? Doge isn't just chasing petty bribes or backroom deals. He's mapping the DNA of their syndicate, how it breathes, how it thrives, who's steering the ship. How do they siphon billions through labyrinths of shell companies and NGOs? How do they rig elections with clockwork precision across decades? Who engineered this monstrosity? Who's oiling its gears? Who's shielding it from scrutiny? Trump's team isn't rushing to dump every shred of evidence. They're crafting a narrative, a step-by-step unveiling that's building toward a crescendo of undeniable truth. Picture this. Social security numbers handed out to illegals like Halloween candy. Not a bureaucratic hiccup, but a cornerstone of their vote-stealing apparatus. 14 Treasury computers spinning digital dollars from thin air, channeling funds to loyalists, laundering it through layers of red tape to keep their empire afloat. Congress, a rogues gallery of marionettes, recruited by deep state scouts, installed via rigged primaries and general elections, dancing to the tune of kickbacks and blackmail. This isn't a hunch. It's a tapestry of corruption, snapping into sharp focus. And Trump's poised to rip it apart for all to see. The deep state's in a cold sweat over this. Trump's stacked the deck with his heavy hitters. Kash Patel at the FBI, Pam Bondi at the DOJ, Kristi Noem at DHS, John Ratcliffe at the CIA, Tulsi Gabbard at DNI, and more, all methodically purging their agencies of sleeper agents and leakers. Picture this. Every night, these deep state operatives, senators, bureaucrats, media stooges, lie awake, hearts pounding, wondering what Doge has dug up, what devastating revelation will drop next. Trump's not playing a slow drip game. Human trafficking today, pedophilia tomorrow, Epstein next month. He's amassing a mountain of evidence for a single cataclysmic strike. A storm that'll swamp them all in one fell swoop. Think back to his first term. He moved like lightning. Tax cuts in weeks. Border walls rising, keeping them off balance. Now it's a full-on blitz, proving they hijacked the government in 2020, spied on his campaign, fabricated Russia collusion, Ukraine impeachments, a litany of sham indictments. This isn't just D.C.'s mess. Look at France, Brazil, every corner of the world. They're all running the same tired script, and it's fraying at the edges, ready to collapse under the weight of exposure. The syndicate laid bare, a web of fraud and exploitation. Let's zoom in to the meat of Doge's find. Starting with election fraud. A festering wound, Trump's team is ready to lance. Rasmussen reports and Brian Cate are sounding the klaxons. For at least 5 or 6 election cycles, possibly stretching back to 2012, NGOs have been flooding county registrar offices with fake voter registrations, fueled by a stockpile of fraudulent Social Security numbers. The playbook's chillingly simple. Step 1, dump thousands of bogus forms. Step 2, request mail-in ballots for these ghost voters. Step 3, pay low-level staff to fill them out and send them back. Cate calls it easy peasy, lemon squeezy. A conveyor belt of corruption so streamlined, it's almost elegant. Last October, Pennsylvania caught an Arizona-based NGO in the act. Several thousand fake forms dumped at the 2024 registration deadline. A sloppy slip-up in a nationwide scheme. This isn't a one-off. It's a federal crime. A RICO-level conspiracy, begging for Bondi's DOJ and Patel's FBI to dismantle. Cate's bombshell estimate? Up to half of Congress, House, and Senate owes their seats to this coordinated vote fraud. A sprawling enterprise that's kept the deep state in power for decades. Rewind the tape. 2016, 2018, 2020. Every cycle's tainted. Remember those glitches in Michigan, Georgia, Arizona? Thousands of ballots popping up overnight, always tilting one way. Or 2022's midterms. Razor-thin races, flipped blue, despite red waves elsewhere? It's not luck. It's logistics. NGOs, often cloaked as voter outreach groups, work with insiders to exploit lax mail-in rules. A system turbocharged by COVID excuses. Trump's been warning about this since 2016. Mail-ins as the deep state skeleton key. And now Doge's got the receipts. Names, dates, paper trails tying it to Social Security databases, bloated with fake entries. This isn't small potatoes. It's the backbone of their control. And it's about to snap. Now pivot to the border. Those illegals pouring in weren't a humanitarian blunder. They're pawns in a multi-layered game. Handed Social Security numbers at warp speed. Prepped to vote in rigged elections. They're also fuel for a darker engine. Human trafficking. DHS just issued a stark warning. Trafficking's exploding on U.S. soil, echoing Trump's 2020 alert during COVID. It's a vast, internet-driven beast, dwarfing anything we've imagined. Europol's bust of Kid Flicks, 1.8 to 2 million users worldwide, cracks it open. Where did those kids come from? Not volunteers or studios. Traffickers kidnapped them, smuggled them across borders, locked them in secret compounds. James O'Keefe's undercover footage painted the picture. Fortified facilities. No press allowed. Armed guards. Vehicles tailing anyone who snoops too close. These aren't refugee camps. They're trafficking hubs. Funded by our tax dollars under the guise of border security. Dig deeper. Kids crossing with handlers, not parents. Housed in black site centers. Biden's legacy. Obama's blueprint. Kristi Noem's gearing up to blow the whistle. Documents. Manifests. Whistleblower testimonies linking it to decades of policy. It's not just profit. It's leverage. Trafficked kids feed pedophile networks. Adults become cheap labor or election fodder. The Social Security database. A rigged ledger bloating voter rolls with ghosts. Treasury cash. A slush fund funneled through NGOs to pay off the ecosystem. Handlers. Coyotes. Bureaucrats. Trump's not just deporting. He's exposing the architects. Names. Dates. Dollar amounts. The deep state's terrified because their machine's grinding to a halt. Washington unravels. Panic, purges, and power grabs. DC's a cauldron of chaos. Trump stripping their arsenal. Security clearances revoked from hundreds of ex-officials. Leakers hunted down. Funding choked off. Timothy Howe, NSA Director, since February 2024. And his deputy, Wendy Noble, fired. Deep state linchpins likely tasked with hiding election fraud, not stopping it. Howe oversaw Cyber Command and NSA during the 2024 election, touted as a guardian against Russian hacks. Yet fraud flourished under his watch. Sabrina Singh's bleeding about cyber threats, but Ezra Cohen's torching her. You covered up the real breach. Trump's purge isn't random. Every axe falls on a cog in their wheel. From NSA brass to congressional aides, the panic's palpable. Chuck Schumer's suing to let non-citizens vote, wailing about election denial over Trump's crackdown. Mike Lee's retort is scathing. You're begging for illegals to vote because your rigging's toast? North Carolina's Supreme Court race. 65,000 ballots, mostly Democrat. Now under a microscope after a March 21, 2025, appeals court ruling. Teeters on a 700-vote margin. Could flip red in 15 days. The deep state sweating. Proof of eligibility's their Achilles heel. Elon's scrubbing the Social Security database. Torching their mail-in ballot pipeline. The Save Axe shadow looms. No ID, no vote, no wins. They're clawing at air. Judges are in meltdown mode. A Rhode Island federal judges demanding Trump reinstate $11 billion in COVID emergency funds. 2 years after the pandemic fizzled. 20 blue states, California, New York, Massachusetts, Maine, the whole roster are drooling. But it's not for vaccines. It's their lifeline to pay off loyalists. Judge Bausberg's threatening contempt. Pleading to bring back deported MS-13 killers and gang lords. Echoing Boston's farce, where ICE agent Brian Sullivan was targeted for nabbing a drug trafficker. U.S. Attorney Leah Foley shut that down. Supremacy clause trumps judicial tantrums, but Bausberg's doubling down. Trump's Alien Act stands ironclad. These aren't rulings. They're pleas from a crumbling regime, desperate to cling to power. Streets on fire, violence, silence, and backlash. On the ground, it's a powder keg. Austin Metcalf, a 4.0 GPA student athlete, stabbed to death in cold blood by Carmelo Anthony. White victim, black perpetrator. The media's mute. Flip the script. Black victim, white killer. We'd have riots. Wall-to-wall coverage. Celebrity hashtags. Nate Baker, 21. A University of South Carolina student. Mowed down in a hit-and-run by illegal Rosalie Fernandez Cruz. She was already on ICE's radar. Free, thanks to Biden's open borders. DC Drano's livid. Say his name. Another American dead. Bubba Wallace's fake news hoax got more ink than these tragedies combined. A stark snapshot of the deep state's media chokehold. Tesla vandals are rampaging, torching cars, keying hoods, all fueled by Democrat venom against Elon Musk. Amuse reports police confirmation. Terrorists inspired by Democratic incitement. Elon's unequivocal. Absolutely true. These aren't random punks. They're foot soldiers, often Antifa-clad, targeting a symbol of Trump's orbit. The irony? Tesla owners skew left. Green energy converts now dodging Molotovs from their own party. It's a circular firing squad. 49% of Dems want moderation per polls. This chaos is driving them away. January 6th remains their lone trump card. A staged insurrection with FBI plants. Deleted J6 committee files. Patel's FBI's closing in. It was their op, not MAGA's. The truth's about to break. Global reckoning. The money stops, the empire falls. Globally, the deep state's house of cards is toppling. The World Economic Forum's hemorrhaging. $52 million in USAID funds canceled. Klaus Schwab ousted amid racism and abuse scandals. Liz Churchill's jubilant. Trump and Elon stopped the scam. The WHO, WTO, NGOs, all teetering as Trump slashes their lifelines. No cash, no clout. They're imploding. The EU's slapping X with a $1 billion fine. Under the Digital Services Act. frantic to silence free speech. Australia, New Zealand, Brazil are queuing up to follow. Trump's counterpunch? A 75-day TikTok lifeline via executive order, pushing a deal for an uncensored platform. Truth. Rumble. Soon TikTok, the people's bullhorn, drowning out the fake news echo chamber. In France, Marine Le Pen's facing jail. A leftist lawfare rerun of Trump's battles. He's roaring on truth. Same playbook, 9 years of failure. It's a global contagion. UK riots. German protests. An enlightenment wave as people see the script. Trump's tariffs are bending China, Iran, Canada. Peace through leverage, not war. France's Iran panic? A deep state ploy. Trump's talks are for deals, not bombs. Cyberattacks or war might be their last gasp. Shutting X. Crashing banks. But Trump's agencies, cleansed of house ilk, are primed to parry. Trump's endgame: justice, power, and the people. Trump's vision is unrelenting. No men in women's sports. Schools defying his executive order like Maine lose federal cash. A female fencer took a knee against a male opponent. USA Fencing expelled her, though he swapped from the men's team last year. Maine's governor's barking. See you in court. But 64% of voters back Trump, per UNH polls. Linda McMahon's DOJ Title IX team is a battering ram. Violators get cut off. Iran, Greenland, Canada? No invasions. Tariffs twist arms. Force talks. The strength, not bloodshed. His signature since 2016. Doge's find, kickbacks, treason, 2020's overthrow. Is imminent. Backed by documents they can't dodge. The deep state stripped naked. No funds. No NGOs. No narrative. Trump's toying with them. Dropping crumbs. Watching them flail. Every move stings. Every reveal crushes. The Patriots hold the wheel, steering toward a reckoning that'll rewrite history. That's all for today, folks. Be well. Be safe. Stay sharp. If this shook you awake, smash that subscribe button. Join the LM Report community as we chase the unvarnished truth. See you next time.